All right, all right, all right. Hello, all right. Hello, hello, hello. All right, all right, all right. We are here. We are here. Hey, 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 hey. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the very first episode of Dating Differently with Dibby and Dr. Conti. Woo, I need my cheer button. Woo, woo, woo.
Hey, hey, hey,
I'm Dr. Conti, as many of you know. And let me tell you, I am your go to get that wisdom girl. I'm going to be helping you identify those red flags, even when they come out in nice looking packages. We know what that's like. And knowing when kind does not equal compatibility, ladies. And throw in a little bit of healing, some healthy boundaries, some real talk, some holy sass. That's going to be me.
And I'm Demi, your fun, fabulous friend who keeps it real, sometimes a little raw. I call balls and strikes, I'm not afraid to call out foolishness that's out here in these dating streets.
I know that's right. We're going to talk about a lot of foolishness that we have run across ourselves.
Yeah.
So, we're super excited. We really are. We have really enjoyed this space with you ladies and getting ready for it. And maybe even some men who have said they want to be a part of this as well. So, we do invite you to sneak and peek in every now and then, I guess. It can go for men and women. Many of you know that I am an award winning healthy relationship strategist and a nationally recognized domestic violence expert for over 30 years now, over 3 decades of experience helping women leave abusive relationships. But after that, to build healthy, empowered love. That's really what it's about. And
Yeah.
so I believe love should be good and feel safe and consistent and life-giving to you. And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about here.
And as a high level dating mentor who helps people just level up love, I focus on confidence and clarity and intentional dating,
Hmm.
helping you release just old patterns and choose relationships that actually align with who you are. So, how did we get started? Last year, I decided to really just look at my truth, who I was, and be honest with myself and
Hmm.
say that I'm going to date intentionally. I am going to date intentionally. But in order for me to do that, I needed to have an accountability partner. And that's what my friend Dr. Conti was for me, a mentor, a cheerleader, but somebody I could laugh and talk with. And so this is why we put this together. Most of you know that I started golfing, and just like that, I started dating after 20 years of marriage and getting divorced, kind of didn't know what the rules were, didn't know which clubs to use, I would say, just didn't know what to do. And some out of lessons learned. We had put this together for the grown, the sexy, the divorced, the people that were in long time relationships, empty nesters, um, a widower, or
Hmm.
just some of you that just gave up. We're here.
Hmm.
So it's a new year.
Or people like me who have just been so swamped with their world and their career that dating went out
Exactly.
of the window.
Exactly. And it's a new year, right?
Mhm.
So we're here for you. It's a new year. People have resolutions everywhere. What they want to get healthy, right? They have a focus on um, being more aligned. And very few people, though, talk about what it means to date intentionally.
Mhm,
So that's
mhm.
something we're going to do tonight. And I'm excited about doing that with you.
Well, as the new year coming, everybody wants to do resolutions, and most people know I don't really believe in resolutions. That's exactly why I started my book. I wrote my book, 12 Months to a Better You. That was my very first bestseller, and I wrote it because people needed to change their mindset about uh, the resolution thing. Because real change doesn't happen by accident. Demi, we talked about it. It happens with purpose.
Yeah.
And so most
Yeah.
people don't need another resolution. What they need is strategy, and they need intention, and they need, to challenge
Yeah.
themselves to focus, to grow beyond their comfort zone, because that's what happens when we get comfortable with things. We get comfortable with our habits. So we have to confront our habits, confront our mindset, and choices that keep us stuck. It's easy to go back to what's familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, this feels good, this is comfortable. It's easy to go back to what's familiar, even when what's familiar isn't healthy for us, and say, or doesn't feel safe. But familiar can be predictable. And
Mhm.
so familiar feels comfortable most of the time. But familiarity also is where people start getting trapped and repeating the same cycle. Somebody over in the comment says, this sounds like a great conversation. Thank you, Gerald. That's good that you're here.
Yeah.
And good evening, Lena. I see you there. I'm glad to have you all, and
Yeah.
share, let other people know that we're on. But yeah, so choosing the same types of relationships and ending up with the same types of disappointments. And this is especially true when you're dating and not dating with intention.
And you're exactly right. I remember getting right after my divorce, I jumped into something and a relationship, and I thought this was perfect. I had on
Mhm.
rose-colored glasses, but realized that what I thought felt comfortable was really just being familiar.
Mhm.
And so, because you have to date intentionally for a healthy relationship or healthy love, whatever that looks like with you, before you do that, you have to ask yourself, where am I? Because what most people do, because there's so many dating apps or places or spots to go, and you wonder, where should I go and meet someone? And trust, every dating app, no matter if you pay a matchmaker, either way, you still have to have this roadmap. You still
Mhm.
have to know the date intentionally. And
Mhm.
so it's worth really asking yourself, where am I? Am I ready? Am I healed? Am I trying to get over someone by hooking up with someone else? Am I ready emotionally? Am I ready mentally? And so today we're going to talk about mental readiness, emotional clarity, self awareness, changes the way we date. Because intentional dating doesn't start with an app or with a spot, it really starts with honesty. And so I want to ask everyone, because this is our topic. Am I ready to date intentionally? A new year. This is time for us to reset. So if you think you're ready, put ready in the comment section. If you know you're not, just say, nope, I'm not ready.
Nope, not
I'm
ready.
not ready. Nope, nope,
If
nope.
you're ready, put ready in the comment section. If you're not, just say no. Hey, got a couple of questions here. Jake wants to know, are you women single or married? We both are single. We both are single. All right. Valerie says she is ready. She got her ready
Awesome.
in there. I like that.
Awesome.
Daryl, don't feel bad, woman of God. Most of us dated someone prematurely.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes, yes.
yes,
We
yes,
actually
yes, it
absolutely
is.
have, absolutely have.
Well, that's a great question. Are we ready? Are you ready mentally and emotionally ready? And of course, many of you know me as Dr. Conti, and that's because I have been a counselor and therapist for many years. So this is what you have to ask yourself. In order, in order to really, really be mentally and emotionally ready, start by asking yourself, am I dating? Y'all get ready for this question now. Am I dating out of my trauma or out of my truth? That's the question. Because if you're dating out, and you'll probably say, okay, well, wait a minute, Dr. Conte, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Or am I dating out of my comfort, trauma, or my truth? So let me break this down.
Mhm.
When you're dating out of trauma, you're not choosing from a healed place. You're not choosing from a ready place. You're choosing from survival.
Mhm.
Trauma driven dating. We've heard of trauma bonding before. And trauma dating sounds, somebody said, ooh, trauma dating sounds like needing validation still in a relationship. You sometimes mistake intensity for intimacy, or feeling drawn to people who, like I said, feel familiar.
Yeah.
I met somebody just yesterday, at the doggy park, and I told Demi, I said, "Ooh, that's a good looking brother." I
I
said,
remember the conversation.
but that felt real familiar, and we laugh about it because we knew we were going to be talking about that tonight.
Right, and you
And
said,
I
"Oh,
might
I
need to
said,
turn
run away, real
I said I might need to turn around and run. But yeah, because that's becoming again self-aware and understanding that I need to make sure I'm not misplacing chemistry with character. We've had a conversation. The chemistry was jumping off the like you in that picture, Jimmy, with your friend at the one. I don't want to say the names. What's our made up names? Y'all, we have plenty made up names. Chemistry
I
can
have
be
someone that I know who you're talking about. He was the witness protection program. He was in
yes,
the witness protection program, and the chemistry was off the charts.
jumping through
So
the
I
picture.
knew, I'm staying away from that.
Yeah,
Matter
so
of fact, he was the one. If I could, I'm gonna tell you the story. I say it just for a little quick laugh, but he was the one that you asked the question: do you have a girlfriend?
yes.
Are you in a relationship? Are you with anybody who thinks they're in a relationship? He said, well, yeah, 3 people, but one of them is delusional.
So he said, "Yeah, I got 3 people." Right. 3 people that they think they're in a relationship with me.
But
Lori
one
says,
is delusional.
Lori says chemistry will lie to you. Yes, it will. So sometimes we confuse chemistry and overlook character, or sometimes we'll confuse attachment and it's not alignment. So dating out of truth, really quickly, I'm gonna say this: dating out of your truth looks very different. Truth is grounded. It is calm. It doesn't rush. I've had clients to say, "Oh, this is boring," because they weren't used to dating healthy, and they were used to the up and the down and the rock and the roll and the chaos. But you're not trying to be chosen. You're choosing when you are dating out of truth. It looks very different. Trauma may say, I don't want to be alone, so I'm going to date with this person regardless to what I'm feeling that may not be right. But truth says, look, I won't abandon my truth, my growth, my healing just to be with a partner. Demi?
Yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Not worth it.
Not worth it at all. And so communicating your needs, another example is communicating your needs without fear of abandonment.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that I worked on before I started my journey,
Mm-hmm.
realizing that, if you're not comfortable with stopping disrespect, or at least speaking out when it happens, because we don't have any, control over any other individual, but being able to speak your mind, being able to be not being uncomfortable with sharing what was done. And I don't mean speak your mind and rolling your eyes and the head.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
just mean having a good communication skills and being able to do that. One of the things I know that you always say, Conti, is healthy attracts healthy. And I think
Mm-hmm.
you just made that point, because when you're healthy, then all of that extra stuff is a lot of drama. That's what
That's right.
a lot of us come and say, we don't want any drama. But that's really what it is. It's drama when you're healthy, and to stay away from it. So,
Right.
but you don't know what you don't know. And that's why we're here to
Mm-hmm.
help you all with that roadmap.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we're here for that.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional readiness means you're not reliving your last relationship in every new one.
Mm-hmm. All
You know?
right. And Jake just said he got off. Jake said, and I'm gonna read the good, the bad, and the ugly, because everybody is entitled to their opinion. He says, "I'm sorry, I've been listening for 4 minutes now, and this is just girly talk." He says, "So I'm gonna pull one off and try to forget that this ever happened." And so, hey, one of the things that we really did start this for women who are dating, like I said, second time around, getting online, divorcees.
Mhm.
But when we were talking about it to some of our male friends, and which we'll have some male friends on. So I appreciate you being on, Gerald. We'll have some other males on, because when we were talking about it to some of our male friends, they were like, "This is good. We need men go through the same things."
Everybody does.
Everybody goes through the same things, and like this dating era is so different. And instead of everybody trying to, really come forward, a lot of things are tiptoeing around and not being honest and not being true and not having clarity. So when we were talking about some of the things that she and I experienced as we've been dating, the guys were like, "Hey, look, y'all need to include men." So you're more than welcome. But if not, hey, Valerie said this is not just girly talk; it's real talk, and it is. But if it's we don't want to make anybody stay. This is what we want to do to help others to grow, heal, and it is, thank you, it is much needed. So Gerald said this much needed conversation for all of us. Absolutely. KP said, I have been unmarried since 2007 and it has been very challenging. And that's what we found. That's exactly what we found.
And that's why we're here.
Exactly why we're here.
That's why we're here. So do I know what I want? Am I willing to honor it? Knowing what you want and why, that's an important standard to start with. Mm-hmm. So is this standard important and why? Why is it important?
Well, one of the things I often say is we go to the grocery store with a grocery list. Mm-hmm. So I have a grocery list concept for dating. We don't go to I think we should put down, know what it is that you want, like you said, and know why it is that you want, and if you can go to the grocery store with a grocery list, then you need to have a list ahead of time when you're talking about looking for somebody you want to spend the rest of your life with. We know what happens if we go to the grocery store. Y'all know what happens if you go to this grocery store without a list. You wander up and down the aisles, but you grab this, you grab that, you grab things that look good for the moment. And sometimes you come out of there with snacks and stuff that you didn't even need, didn't even want, hadn't even thought about getting. Items that you don't normally even want. Somebody said non-negotiables, exactly, and stick to it. But dating without a list works the same exact way. When you don't have clarity, when you don't have, what you're looking for about your partner, you end up saying the same thing, entertaining people who don't align with your values, choosing based on attraction instead of intention. You start saying yes to stuff that's available instead of yes to what's healthy and what was actually on your list.
And I'm gonna laugh because you know what I think about. Don't go to the grocery store hungry. Don't get out there hungry.
Exactly. It really cost you then, because you come back with some stuff that's a whole lot that you don't want. I don't even eat ice cream. I went to the grocery store hungry one time. I had some ice cream. I said, "Oh, that just looked good on the picture." I had ice cream when I came out of the store. And then guess what? I said, "Well, you can't have ice. I don't even eat ice cream. You can't have ice cream without cake." I done went over to the dessert side, got me a little piece of cake. Exactly. It cost me more. I done spent way more money than I was supposed to spend. And the same thing happens when you don't get the right thing in choosing a partner. It costs you a lot. It costs your sanity. It can cost your health. And it can cost stress. It can cost your money. And coming from the domestic violence background on my nonprofit, it can actually cost your life.
Yeah. So part of self-awareness is really recognizing your dating patterns. And I think, I just went back and I told you that. And I remember us having the conversations and looking back at, let me look at the lessons that I've learned from this. Oftentimes we get out of these relationships and we're like, something was wrong with them. Something was wrong with them. And maybe it was. But we always need to go back to looking back at us. Who am I? Do I overgive? Do I overfunction? Do I overexplain? Those are all issues. Do I try to fix, save, or heal the partners? Am I trying to build fair? Basically, do I stay longer than I should, hoping that they'll change? These are patterns. Patterns you also live that you also don't want to allow, or mixed messages. So we want to listen to their words and their actions and watch all of that. Inconsistent communication, emotional neglect, broken promises, disrespect disguised as honesty. She always know she said, what happened to him? So I throw in these little stories again. They're, yeah, girly stories because they're from me. But one week I went on 4 dates, and I'm calling them dates with quotations, meet and greets, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
4 different people, 4 days in a row. And she said, what happened to him? I was like,
Yeah, it took me every time she says something don't work, she got a little click to go. I was like, how was that one? We're on the phone, so I don't even see her because we're on the phone, but I can hear.
You know what the funny thing is? Because we had a gentleman that said it, I want to say there was a gentleman. I'm gonna call him Ghost. I'm gonna call him the ghost. Not because, well, he ghosted me, but not in that same definition.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we had such a great conversation. And I remember when we met, and I think you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And he was so quick. He was like, do you want to get married? You have to answer yes or no right now, yes or no. And I'm like, whoa, I don't even know you.
Right.
Really understanding later. So, walked me to my car, said, I'll see you tomorrow or whatever the next date was. And he blocked me. And I was like, what happened? But I realized then in his head, it was, I want to know if you're looking for the same thing that I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
But in my head, he doesn't realize my past history is that, some of the things that people immediately throw out at you is, oh, you're going to be my wife. I'm in love with you. And so I thought the man was like, and so in my head, I'm like, I'm not telling you I want to marry you, but it happens. And so again, it's just one of those things. I just threw that in, I know.
And so it's one thing to date knowing what you looking for, because that, for me, I want to get married. So you want to, I don't want to date someone who says, and let's say, and for those who don't know, Demi, she has Demi Dating Network. And so she does really great with profiles and everything. And so if your profile says you're looking for something casual, then that's not somebody we're going to click on, because I know in the long run, I'm looking for someone that's serious and someone that wants a relationship that possibly lead to marriage. Now, does that mean everybody I date, which is one of the mistakes that women make? You go out on a date, the first date, and you like, oh my God, what's his last name? And you start, how does his last name sound like on my name? Or maybe what if we go out another year, then we could be married, And so when we say, and I'm going to say this to Gerald. Gerald said, Lord of mercy, you're blessed. I ain't had 4 dates in 3 months. Well, that's because that's the name of the podcast is Dating Differently.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's exactly why. And when you're on sites, that's why we said meet and greets. You go and you meet somebody and you get to know them. Dating is for, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, it's gathering information. Yeah. So you're not supposed to be, you can date this one and this one and this one, because you're not sleeping with them. You're gathering information to see where you fit. So knowing this, knowing what we just talked about, that, dating, you could be dating out of trauma. You could be dating, still holding on to some stuff. You could be not ready. You could be, dealing with stuff that's inconsistent communication before. You might've been dealing with messages like Demi said. Knowing this, I want to ask you the question again. Are you ready? Are you ready to date? Because I just believe that you have to put yourself in a place where you're healthy and you're ready. And if you're not, you can put in the chat, not ready. Nope, not ready. Because you want to be cake. And one of the things I say about cake is cake has all the ingredients it needs to be perfect, to be great. It has all the ingredients it needs. Icing is to add on. Icing is to add on. Hi, Tamara. She said, this is interesting. Icing is to add on. And so it's supposed to, and what'd you say? Be an asset to the cake. Enhance the cake. So dating isn't about convincing someone to choose you. It's about, gathering information and you choosing wisely.
Yeah, exactly. So How do I date them differently once I'm clear? So you lead with clarity. Um, you lead with clarity, not curiosity. We talked about the sites, and it's sites, it's online, it's offline. You're no longer just dating, like you said, just to see kind of what happens. You really are meeting people to feel like, I know what I want.
Mhm.
I know what I need.
Mhm.
I know what I'm not going to accept. I know what I
Mhm.
am going to accept. I'm not entertaining confusion, mixed signals, inconsistency. I mean,
Mhm.
I dated, and again, I'm saying dating because that's a term everybody understands. I went on
Mhm.
my first date with hot pants was fantastic. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the best date I've had in a long time. Y'all will get that. But again, I'm not entertaining confusion.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So hot pants was out.
Tell them why you call them hot pants.
Liar, pants on fire. Out. And she said that. I know, you got to put names with the people. So if it's really unclear, it's a no.
Mhm.
You talked about dating is gathering information, not
Mhm.
making promises. Um, I, I say intentionality. I look at it as no different than, and you all will find out. I don't want to say I'm an avid golfer. I love golfing, but you meet new people when you're out at the course. You have conversations. You chat it up. You meet men and women, and it's no
Mhm.
different if I met a really nice lady. I golfed with her a few times. Maybe I was at the range with her. It would be the exact same
Mhm.
are the
Mhm.
exact same things that I would go through if I'm meeting someone of the same sex that I'm not interested in um, becoming in a relationship, but we're looking at a friendship.
Mhm.
Treat it all the same. It's
That's
really
right.
intentional, and I look at that. And so you're dating with a purpose.
Mhm.
It's really share with others that you're on the market. You're getting
Mhm.
out of the house. You're doing the things that you enjoy. One of the things that Dr. Conti always says, which I think is absolutely hilarious, and she always says, "The milkman don't come to the door anymore."
And
And
I say, and the Amazon man is probably too young for us.
I'm like, "You telling your age? You telling your age?" But you really have to try some different options, such as dating sites and dating from friends' recommendations and being receptive and pleasant and smiling at people at the grocery store if you go to the grocery store,
Mhm.
complimenting, she says complimenting men's ties when you're in
Yeah.
the elevator.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
know about just being intentional.
Mhm.
And if you need help with that, like I said, I don't know, did we get some readies in there? If you're ready, then I'm the person you want to talk to. If you're ready, we're going to make sure you have a standout profile. If you
Mhm.
have one, we're going to go over that. We're going to get this great photography. We're going to make you just people to see who you are.
Mhm. And if you're not, don't forget. We was talking about getting ready, and I didn't say it, but if you're not ready, that's okay too. Join me on the relationship lab, and we got both of us have our information going down at the bottom. Our little ticker. You can email us, or you can go to drcontespeaks.com, and I have there a checklist to see if you are ready, if you are dating from a healed, intentional place. So there's a dating readiness checklist that's a relationship lab downloadable. Let's get ready because we don't want to keep spreading more toxic on top of toxic. We want to start attracting healthy and healed and whole.
And I'm going to add to that, it's not just profiles that I'm going to help you with. I said dates, but when you start the conversation, how do you read between the lines on these profiles or even
Mhm.
in conversation with folks? What type of conversation should you be having? When's the first time you meet the person in person? One of my giveaways that I say always throw people off as a female to male is they think it's hilarious that I always say, well, let's FaceTime.
Mhm. Mhm.
let me see who I'm talking to,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because I don't know who you are. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's always been a shocker. I remember, um, I have so many names for people.
Oh, we do. We have a list of them. We got that's that's how
Yeah.
we. So, like she said, we started this as us keeping each other accountable, and we would just we because of what happened on the date, we formed all these little funny names for these people. So you guys gonna hear a whole bunch of characters.
I I do it intentionally because, I just want to see if I end up meeting you. I want to know who I'm talking to, and sometimes that still doesn't always work in my favor. I remember talking to someone, we FaceTimed a lot, and he always had that front parking space. He
Mhm.
wasn't anything like I thought he was when we got to meet each other. He had a parking space right up front every time. And so it was just very interesting.
Yeah,
So
let me say this. So Demi is very active. She's a very active person, and she has that in her profile. So when she said he has that front parking space, that means he must have showed up and he was a little on the unactive side. And he was parking up close because he wasn't walking to that far because he didn't get no exercise.
um, so you really have to
You
ask.
said FaceTime is a great idea. Yes, it is. It's a great idea. Faith said, where can I find the checklist? Yes, the checklist is at www.drcontespeaks.com, and it is in the relationship lab. So the relationship lab, drcontespeaks.com, and it is a ready to date from a healed and intentional place checklist.
Yes. And then you have my site going across, which is my email. And then, of course, you have my website, which is demidatingnetwork.com.
Yes.
But yes, I do have it. So did we get some readies? Did we get some notes? And asking yourself 3 questions. If you answered yes to every one of the topics and the questions that we did, you're ready. Contact me. If you
Okay.
gave a no or nope or I'm not sure, Dr. Conti.
We need to get you ready. That's what we want to do. We want to get you ready. We want you to be dating, like she said, out of clarity, and it with intention. And so it's interesting because, like I said, you will also be surprised at how many of us, men and women,
Yeah.
are out here in the new dating game, whether it's online or your friend introducing you to somebody, and literally just it's not like it used to be in the old days. It's not like it used to be in the old days.
Absolutely not. And that's why we're here. We're
Mm-hmm.
here as a guide. We're here as a
Mm-hmm.
guide.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I started golfing and I didn't know the rules. I didn't know which club to use. Um, I didn't know anything that I was doing. And trying to figure it out on my own wasn't going to work. And that's why people get coaches. And you
That's
get
right.
coaches in most things.
That's right. And you're going to get a lot of tips from us, and you're going to get, a lot of things that from our experience. And we're going to have others come on. We're going to have guests. This is the first night. We're going to have more stories, more wisdom for you. Dating, Demi's got some dating tips, some profile tips, and all of that. And of course, I've got some more wisdom on how to date from a place of being whole. And guess what, Demi? It's our time is almost up.
It is, and we still didn't find white chocolate. Where is he? I'm still looking for you. If you're listening, white chocolate, just let me know that you're okay.
Yes.
I
Yes.
just want to know you okay.
Yes. I kind of liked white chocolate. We have all these different people that we went out with, and some of them were really, really nice. And then all of a sudden, like, okay, what happened? What happened to that person?
So intentional dating does not mean, and I know you said this, but I want to say it again, that every date has to be the one.
Mm-mm.
It means that you're present, you're aware, and you're choosing and not settling and not rushing, not rushing that
Mhm.
shot.
Yep, not rushing.
So this year, let's date with clarity, move with intention, and choose with confidence.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, someone else said again, where is this checklist? All right, the checklist at www.drcontespeaks.com. The ticker going by said drcontespeaks.com. And so that is where it is. It's in the relationship lab. So it is right on the front page. Relationship Lab, and it's a downloadable. You will see where it is, and you can click the link and download it. So somebody says good information and good discussion. So great. So come back next week. Come back next week. Share. Tell your friends and tell your cousins, tell your coworkers, tell everybody. So next week we're going to be talking more, and we're going to be talking about spotting alignment early. Spotting alignment early, and the red flags, the yellow flags, and probably the green flags, ladies, that people often overlook, and men, the green flags that we often overlook. We're going to be talking about all of that next week. So tune in with us on Dating Differently, where this is where starting to date intentional happens. It's all right here. This is a wrap, y'all. This is a wrap. And I'm Dr. Conti Terrell.
And I'm Demi. So join us next week where we continue to help you love intentionally.
Yes, and heal completely. And
date
differently. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us. Share.
Thank you.